All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Discover Your Potential. We are sitting here with a very profound man and gentleman of our community, Dr. Soheil Abedian. Welcome to the podcast.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. Just to explain a little bit about who you are and so the audience can understand what you have done across your life so far, I think it's very important to set you up. So Dr. Soheil Abedian is the former founder and chairman of the Sunland Group, and after its delisting in late 2023, has established his private development company, Abedian & Co. as the family continues its pursuit of developing excellence in residential projects. Under the banner of Sunland, the group produced over 40,000 dwellings in Australia and across United Arab Emirates. Today, the private entity of Abedian & Co. continues the legacy of contributing to the built, form and developing private residential communities. A high priority is a philanthropic involvement with the community. The Abedian Foundation supports a range of educational scholarships and initiatives, including Griffith University, Bond University, and the Abedian School of Architecture, along with the research and social action endeavours to make a lasting contribution to the well-being of communities. In 2021, Soheil was a member of the Order of Australia in the Queen's Birthdays Honours List for significant service to the community. And to the property development sector, he is also a committee member of the London-based Global Peace and Prosperity Forum, a non-profit organisation committed to creating a better world. Well, let's just name off also some qualifications that you've achieved over your time. Master's degree in architecture at the University of Graz in Austria. A doctor at Bond and a professor. A doctor of Griffith and a professor. You've got a member of the Order of Australia. You've got the keys to the city of the Gold Coast. You've been awarded a Centennial Medal of Australia for the services and property business sector. You're a recipient of the Certificate for Citizen of Humanity, which was awarded by the United Nations. And you've been named Queensland's Philanthropist of the Year. Soheil Abedian, who is he?
Is just a normal human being that had the bounty and privilege to live in a Middle Eastern country and grow up in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And went for the education to Europe at a very early stage of his life, 17 years old. And when he completed that, immigrated to Australia at the age of 30. So, who is Soheil Abedian? A man that has been witnessed three distinct cultures, the Middle Eastern culture, the German culture, and Anglo-Saxon culture. Three cultures that contradict each other throughout the history, with war, with unfortunate disagreement about the issues of religion, of land right, and they've been always involved with each other. And yet, when you witness these three cultures and collaborate with the people that they live in these countries, you will find out that no matter which part of the world you live in, you find individuals that they have every single one of them something in common. And the commonality of people is that everybody want to be loved and want to be respected. And if you focus on these two elements, to love everyone and to respect everyone, every single part of the world is your home. And you don't feel stranger, no matter where you go, what language you speak, what religion you adopt, which God you worship to, everything become part of the one.
Yeah.
And I tried with utmost, in my own power, to do whatever I think is right, no matter where I was at the early stage of my life in Iran, in my youth in Austria, and now in my old age in Australia.
Beautiful. I always start this podcast with one simple question. What does discover your potential mean to you?
Look, I'm coming from a culture and a faith that I cannot divide them from each other. A culture, Iran is one of the oldest culture in the world, that it goes back to 5,000 years.
Yeah.
One of the greatest emperor of Iran, Kuros the Great, is the person that has written the Charter of Humanity, which is today in United Nations, of the first Charter of Human Rights. And I belong to a minority faith, which is called the Baha'i faith. So when you combine the cultural value and the spiritual values together, you know that every human being is born with nobility. And if we tap into our nobility, it is inevitable that your potentiality will emerge. Every single human being has the potentiality to achieve anything that they want to, as long as they try to connect to their inner soul and find out who they are. But unfortunately, in the age of technology, with everything that we have now, we are always taking the role models from different parts of the world and we want to copy them.
Yeah.
And we are really stopping to see, who am I?
Yeah.
Who is Thai? Who is Soheil?
Yeah.
Who is everybody that every day come across you? And I believe if we do that, without any doubt in my mind, that every single person can achieve both on spiritual and material forces to any level of distinction that they want to.
Cast wouldn't be around if it probably wasn't for your mentor and guidance this year.
Thank you.
So I thank you for that. And I think it's helped me understand that someone like yourself and someone like Adam in the previous podcast and so forth, our future guests, I think it's very important to tell your story and understand your thinking behind what is it to be a noble human and I think a contributor to this world. So it's really nice. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up in Iran and then later moving to Austria? Is there any influences that have shaped some values in your life from those early stages?
Look, I was born in a family with 5 children. I'm number 4.
Okay.
Actually, I'm number 5 because my brother before me, when he was 1 year old, he passed away.
Oh, no.
And so I am the surviving number 4 child. And as you well said, we've been growing up in Iran. And my father and my mother both, they put a lot of emphasis to give us the best education that they can. We are not coming from a background that we grow up with silver spoon in our mouth.
Yeah.
We've been an average household that we always had huge respect for our elders, which is cultural.
Yeah.
And we maintained, as they requested from us, to have a good behavior and to be a good student. And in light of that, I finished my high school in Iran, and I really didn't want to leave Iran.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay after my high school and go straight away into business. But the vision of my father was that without me knowing, he booked for me a one-way ticket to Austria and sent me to Vienna, which my sister, 2 sisters and my older brother came with a bunch of flowers to welcome me. And because at that time it was no phone or nothing, it was a telegram. And then the telegram was just saying Abedian is coming. And they thought Dad is arriving.
Yeah.
And they came with a bunch of flower, and unfortunately, it was that it was me. And they got a little bit disappointed in that. But nevertheless, that was my entry to Austria, which I was a little bit disappointed, heartbroken,
Right.
because I had the vision to stay in Iran, and thanks God I didn't,
Yeah.
because you can see what is happening in Iran today.
Yeah.
And Austria, the reason that all of us, we went to Austria, because after the Second World War, was the cheapest country to be educated, and that is why we went, all of us
Yeah.
there.
Wow.
And I started with architecture,
Mm-hmm.
and my father didn't know that until my graduation, because he wanted to have my older brother studied engineering,
Okay.
electrical engineering. My older sister, started medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and my other sister, second older sister, studied architecture, and I had to study civil engineering.
Right.
And by chance, because I was a little bit young and not disciplined enough, I had a disagreement with one of the professor, and they expelled me from every single German-speaking university, which is Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. So, because my family, they had a good reputation with university, my sister took me to the dean of faculty, and he said, I cannot do anything. I can remove his folder, because it wasn't computer or anything
Yeah.
like that, to
Yeah.
destroy it,
Yeah.
and then he can apply for something else, which I
Wow.
applied for architecture. Fast forward 10 years later, my dad came for my graduation. He couldn't speak, obviously, and understand
Yes.
German, but he heard the word architect, architect, architect. And when the graduation finished and we came out of the hall, and he said, son, what did you study? I said, architecture. He said, no, you're supposed to be structural engineer. But he couldn't say anything because it was finished. Right? So that is how I become an architect, because I was a little bit naughty. And that is one of the potentiality that maybe you should have.
Wow. So
balance.
your father didn't even know you studied architecture
No.
until your graduation.
Yes.
And then now look at, imagine if you weren't an architect. But we'll get to a point where I think is pivotal. And then, okay, so after studies, how long was it until you moved to Australia after graduation?
Okay, I have to take you back.
Okay.
So in Iran, as a teenager, that you start like everyone else around the world, that you find your sexuality
Yes.
and you want to have a partner, girlfriend, whatever it is. And culturally, in that part of the world, having a girlfriend is not accepted.
Sure.
And my father always used to tell us that it will come a day that you see a girl that you like, and that girl will be your wife.
Right.
I arrived in Austria in 1967, and I went during the Christmas in a winter school, and I saw a girl, and we start talking, and I said, okay, Dad said that is your wife, and I said, would you marry me? And anyway, cut the story short, I was so scared of my dad, I didn't have the guts even to say that, because my brother was 10 years older than me and wasn't married. And I asked my sister if it is possible to talk to Dad. And she said no. Anyway, 1 year later, when I was 19, I went to Iran and I asked the permission of my dad to get married. And I thought that he will really get upset with me, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And he told me that, to get married, you need to have a responsibility. Are you ready? I said, yes. Not knowing what the outcome of that yes means.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not going to support you anymore. I'm not going to give you 1 cent. And looking back, that was the best event ever in my life,
Wow.
because he genuinely didn't support me. And I started to finance my family and my study with selling Persian carpet. And I would never ever understand the dynamic of the market if I didn't have that connection with the individual, their needs, the aspiration,
Yeah.
what they wanted, and how I could fulfill it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was maybe the foundation of what I had in my professional life to succeed wherever I am today because of that moment that he said, I'm not going to support you. And I have to tell you another thing that is quite ironic. When we came here as a tourist in 1980
Mm-hmm.
with my family, just as a tourist to see my in-laws that they used to live in Adelaide,
Right.
we bought the cheapest ticket possible, which it was on 24th of December.
Yep.
And Vienna was so cold that our flight delayed because the tarmac was full of snow. And it was minus 12 degrees.
Wow.
And we didn't catch up the flight from Melbourne to Adelaide.
Okay.
And we arrived at 6 o'clock in Adelaide, and it wasn't any gate, it was a door opening to the tarmac.
Yeah.
And when the door opened, the heat was so strong in my face that I genuinely didn't think I am on planet Earth. I thought I'm in March, Mercury, Moon, somewhere, but cannot be minus 12 to plus 40 in one day. So I cannot say the word hate is a very strong word, but I didn't like Adelaide. So I said to them that I would like to take a car and go around Australia and choose a city if I want to immigrate.
Right.
We went to Melbourne, very European. We went to Canberra, didn't like it, didn't have any soul. Came to Sydney, I loved it.
Yep.
And I said, Sydney is a place. And then we moved to Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
The way with the greeneries was unbelievable. We stayed in Travel Lodge and asked the question from the concierge, is there any place that we can go for a day drive? And they say if you go 1 hour north, it's Sunshine Coast, 1 hour south is Gold Coast. I said,
Yep.
which one is more interesting? They said, go to Gold Coast. And we came with a car going over the Southport Bridge, and it was approximately 70 crane in the skyline. And I said, wow, that is the place for a young architect.
Yeah.
Went
Yeah.
back to Australian Embassy in Vienna and applied for immigration. And the consulate asked for an interview.
Yeah.
And we went for an interview. And he said that, to go to Australia, you have to do medical.
Right.
And I said, okay, what do I do? He said, wait. He picked up the phone. He called the doctor. We went at 1 o'clock. And 7 days later, I received 7 days, not 7 years. 7 days later, I received my permanent residency to come to Australia. And I asked the question, I said, is my master degree in architecture with honor acceptable
Yeah.
in Australia? And he said, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I received it in writing from him and from embassy. And when I came to Queensland, I went to Royal Institute of Architects to register myself, and they said, no, not in Queensland. In Victoria, yes, but we don't accept European except the Commonwealth University.
Yeah.
And I said, can I design it for myself? And they said, yes, as long as you don't call yourself an architect. I said, okay, no problem. So that was my second setback in life.
Yeah.
One, not being able to educate in any university. Two, my qualification that I've worked very hard on it is not accepted. So instead to go and apply for a job as an architect, I designed my first house in 27 Cabana Boulevard. And it was totally different than any house on the Gold Coast. And that was the beginning that led to over 40,000 dwelling during my 43 years of being in Australia.
Gold Coast really didn't know what was coming for
Mm, no, maybe not. But if I was in Sydney, maybe I would have done more.
it. Poor Adelaide.
No, but no, I love Adelaide. We went actually for last Christmas, and I really loved it. It has changed so much.
Yeah.
Every part of Australia is so beautiful, and uh, I have to say I'm a proud Australian because I choose Australia to be here.
Yeah. You just mentioned a point that I really think a lot of our listeners could take home, and that's that your qualification didn't get recognised here in Australia, especially in Queensland. And a part of that is that you said, no, I'm going to design my own home. Can you let the audience know a little bit about what happened next and how the next steps unvolve for
Look,
you?
let me go back to your first question
Yeah.
about the potentiality.
Yeah.
The people may in life create barriers for you.
Yeah.
People may in life to say that you are not good.
Mm-hmm.
We do not accept you. We do not recognize you. You are not part of us because you have different color of skin. You have different religion. You have different nationality. You are not good in this. You are not good in that. But inherently within ourselves, we know that what we are good at.
Yeah.
And if we don't accept the barriers that the others creating for you, and you have that potentiality within yourself to remove the barrier,
Yeah.
the destiny is glorious.
Mm.
And you will achieve always where you want to go. Just remember one thing. When I came here, my first language is Persian.
Yeah.
My second language is German. And my third language is English. And I had to start with the age of 31 to learn English. I know my accent is really bad and my grammar is not very good. But all of those misfortune in life make you unique.
Mm.
You know, I came here, I never forget that. I went to open a bank in Commonwealth account in Commonwealth Bank.
Yeah.
And the guy asked me, what's your name? And I said, Soheil. He said, too difficult. Change it to something that starts with S.
Yeah.
Sam, Steve, or something like that. I said, no, my name is Soheil. I'm the only one.
Yeah.
And today I see the benefit of it is there are not many Soheil on the Gold Coast.
There's no one.
So your uniqueness is what you are, not
Yeah.
that what you copy from the others.
Yeah. Yeah.
So saying that, I started with one house,
Yeah.
and the house was so different that I sold it before it was finished.
Mm.
And that led to a year later that Michael Gore, that it was developing Century Cove, came and saw me and asked me to come and build all the waterfront homes, the patio homes in Century Cove. And that was really my first breakthrough into the development,
Yeah.
which I did. We had some disagreement with each
Yeah.
other. He threw me out of his office. But at the end, we become very good friends.
Yeah.
And from then, when we come back, I started with my first high-rise, Malibu.
Mm.
And then I moved to my first land subdivision and townhouse development and thousand upon thousand of dwelling, that one thing led to the next thing.
Yeah.
And upon a stage in my career, my company Sunland reached to XX 200 with a market cap over $1.2 billion. And the whole thing started when you asked me in the car
Yeah.
that how much was the money that originally you had.
Yeah.
It was $120,000. That's all what I had. And the company developed a number of projects, and it was very good for the shareholder long term.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. And I like, we're talking normal like it's normal, but it is not normal, I think. And I think you should be very proud of yourself. And we'll talk a little bit about now, I think, spirituality. I think it plays a big role in your professional and personal life. You've created communities amongst your townhouse developments, subdivisions, high rises and so forth. Do you think spirituality is needed to create a more connected world today?
Look, I have few hobbies.
Yeah.
Obviously, education is one of them.
Yes.
I educate myself even now. I wake up around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I have different app that I go to, from CNN to Gold Coast Bulletin to CNBC to ABS to SBS, and all of them I learn. And I read a lot about
Yeah.
different issues, be it economy, politics, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And as part of that, religion was always, for me, a question that I wanted to know a little bit more.
Yes.
And I studied that. And when you go back to the beginning of the civilization, that is started somehow around 5.5 to 6,000 years ago, when we started to develop language.
Yeah.
And we started to develop alphabet. And as you know, Egypt was the first country that started alphabet.
Yeah.
And Iran, Persia at that time, and the Greeks at the other time, they followed suit. So saying that, the first person from the Anglo-Saxon and European and Western culture is the Abrahamic line of religion.
Right.
And Abraham was the very first person, call it whatever, enlightened person, prophet, whatever you want to call it, that he said that the human being is just not the body and mind. We have something else which is called the spirit and soul. And the soul is a depository of all the virtues.
Yeah.
And that is how the humanity started to develop something that benefit not himself, rather benefit others. And that took over 6,000 years in what we call it the Abrahamic cycle of religion, that with Abraham on one line and Krishna on the other line, they started to give, depends on the understanding of the people, how we can become one.
Yeah.
And Moses was the next one, 3,500 years ago. Jesus came after that, Muhammad came after that, and so on, and now is Baha'u'llah. So all of them, they came for one single purpose, how the humanity can become united.
Okay.
And we see that more and more, that the unification of the world is something that is very important. And it is really utmost important element now in the life of humanity, is that we find a solution that how we can bring peace and harmony to the people. The issue of Ukraine and Russia, the issue of Palestine and Israel, Yemen, Iran, and Syria now that we are all witness, has reached a level that what we know officially, $2.4 trillion we are spending on armament to kill each other. And with 660 billion, we can still have free education for all the children, free health care, and shelter for all. So our perspective of security need to be redefined. And only way that we can find out how to see the good in each other, to see that every single human being is noble, to see that everyone is a protagonist for the betterment of humanity. I cannot enough enjoy being with Thai, because since I know Thai, I know that Thai has the same like and dislike that I have.
Yeah.
And so therefore, if we have so much in common, why can we not build on it?
Yeah.
And become one, become united? Why can't we always have a smile, no matter who we see on a daily basis, to say one nice word to them?
Yeah.
You know, a nobleman in Persia, some 170 years ago, he said that the most important elements for peace and tranquility is unity in diversity, not unity in uniformity.
Yeah.
We want that the people practice the culture. We want that the people practice the language,
Yeah.
but we want at the same time to be united.
Mm.
We don't want to be everybody to be the same.
Yeah.
You know, when Mao came and had everybody wearing the same clothes and be united in a physical form, is not the aim of the world. Be whatever you are, but respect each other.
Yeah.
And that is what the true spirituality means. To be kind, to be tolerant, to be peaceful, to be loving, to be understanding, and above all, to be humble.
Yeah.
Because the humility is the only virtues that you can take more and learn more. And in turn, when you learn more, you give back to the others.
Yeah. You nearly retired a couple of years
Nearly
ago.
retired.
Nearly, or maybe a couple of weeks. We don't know. What keeps you pushing forward in both, I guess, your personal work, philanthropy? What is it?
Look, it is very important. It is let me share with you something. It is, the historian has not proven yet which one this event has occurred.
Right.
Was it Alexander the Great, or was it the Emperor around the Kuros the Great? Nobody knows. But the story goes like that.
Yeah.
That when he died, he put in a casket with the 2 holes on the side of the casket and bring his hand out.
Right.
And then he put at the top of the casket the following statement. He said, I conquered all the world. I had all the position, jewelry, and wealth of the world. I had all the palaces of the world, but I could not take anything with me. So we know that the journey of life is limited. Start with one event that is not in our control.
Yeah.
I didn't ask my parents to make me.
Yeah.
I came to this world without any approval of myself.
Absolutely.
And I go, if you are a normal human being and not commit suicide, you go without your permission either. So the only thing that it is in your control is from the age that you have some level of understanding, say the age of 20 onwards, until the day that you die, that you write your story. And just remember one thing, no one can write your story. You are the only author of your own destiny. And in light of that, that you become your own person, that you become the person that you want, you will find out the only thing in life that is left when Thai say, Soheil is a good person.
Yeah.
That I say Thai is a good person. Not how much money I have, not how many title I have, not whatever it is. If that is your ambition and you do things for the good of humanity, the outcome of it is that you make money. But what you do with the money is your choice. Anna and I, we chose that we don't need any more. We are quite comfortable.
Yeah.
We live in a good place.
Yeah.
And we can look after our family. We put all our money in our foundation, which is called the Abedian Foundation. We have never asked for any support since establishment in 2011.
Yes.
And we are educating every year 105 university kids in Griffith University and Bond University. Every year 105 individuals become professional. Over 540 kids now have been graduated through our foundation. Besides that, we are helping the Leukemia Foundation. We are supporting serving our people. We are supporting Gold Coast Community Fund.
Yeah.
We are supporting number of Mayor's Ball, number of charitable organizations that we can.
Yeah.
And we believe that when you are in power of giving, you shouldn't stop.
Yeah.
Because the life starts with one notion and repeat itself with another notion. You breathe in and you breathe out. If you just breathe in and you don't breathe out, you die.
Yeah.
And that is the same with the wealth. As much as you give, you return more.
Yeah, it's incredible. I don't think a lot of us even think of how simple that is, of just the breathing element, you know. And we talk about it a little bit, a lot as well, is about, you know, the other elements of the world, and that's, you know, even nature and animals and so forth, and that nature is always giving back to humanity.
Without any condition. You know, the tree that we are going out, and both of us, we walk underneath of that
Yep.
and take our carbon dioxide, which is a destructive element for them, is
Yep.
life, and they gave in return to us the oxygen that is the source of our being. But when you see a tree of fruit is reach a level of maturity, the branches will become full of fruit, be it apple, oranges, whatever fruit it might be. The branches will touch the ground of the weight that they have. As much as you know, as much as you give, you will become more humble, because you know the purpose of life is not about taking. The purpose of life is about giving. The relationship of the mother to a child, the relationship of parents to a child. They're not asking anything when the child is born. Hey, you're born today, and you're not allowed to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and wake me up. You wake up with utmost joy
Yeah.
to help. And if that notion of support and help and love that we give to our children, we give to our community, to our society, the world will become a better place. And that is how in that process you discover your potentiality, that you are a good person, that the people can rely on you, and you are a stepping stone on which that the people can walk on it and get to the destination that they want.
Yeah.
You are a protagonist for change. You are the builder of the future.
Yeah.
And that is how we need to nurture the community that we live in. And I said at the beginning when I came here and I met these beautiful people that they are supporting you,
Yeah.
the first thing I said, I have the bounty and privilege to meet the director, writer. What a beautiful person it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that is why we have to educate ourselves to see the beauty in people.
Yeah. Well, you've got a pretty profound sort of statement, and that's finding beauty within architecture. And I think you have developed some of the most iconic developments in the city skyline. And if anyone doesn't know out there, one of them is Q1, the tallest residential tower in the Southern Hemisphere. You have also designed the very first world's fashion hotel,
Branded property. It wasn't before
Branded?
that. Yeah.
Palazzo Versace.
Yeah.
And in amongst all that, I think there's a story behind, if you don't mind sharing, how Palazzo Versace started, because I want to tap into how your mind thinks and let all the emerging and maybe established leaders out there understand that nothing is too small and that you can go after it.
Look, we bought Fisherman Wharf
Yes.
from mortgagee in position, Bank of South Australia. I went to Adelaide and I met with the head of the director that it was for the refinancing of the whole thing and discovery
Right.
of the debt. And I offered them the price and it was accepted.
Yeah.
And the zoning at that time was for a hotel because Sheraton Mirage was there.
Right. Yeah. Across the road.
And Saba and I, we were walking in Sheraton Mirage, and it was a Versace chair in one of the shop. And Saba said that it would be great if we can furnish the lobby with the Versace furniture. Gianni Versace was the iconic fashion designer at that time
Yeah.
in 1997.
Yeah.
And we came up with the idea that maybe we should put the furniture in our hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And we wrote to the House of Versace, and they said, if you want to have a furniture, we have an agency in Sydney, please contact them. They are our licensee. And we said, no, we want the hotel to be Versace. And they said, please go to Sydney. That is our license, and you can get it. Anyway, we couldn't get anywhere, but we were in contact with the management.
Yeah.
And then we sent another email to them that they said, we are on our way to see our family in Austria, and we have a stopover in Milan. Is it any chance that we can see you? And
Yeah.
they gave us time at 10 o'clock in the morning to meet with the licensing manager. And unfortunately, through all of this discussion that we had, Gianni Versace was shot dead.
Yeah.
And it was 3 months after that we had the opportunity to go to the house of Versace.
Wow.
And we went there, and we knocked on the door at 9 o'clock in the morning. And they opened the door because of security of Johnny was shot and everything else. And they said, who are you? And we said, we are from Sunland, Abedian, we have a meeting. And the secretary, the receptionist said, your meeting is at 10 o'clock, it's 9. I said, no, we are here 1 hour earlier, just in case. If Lorenzo want to leave earlier for another meetings, that we can get him at least for 5 minutes. And she started laughing. And we sat down. But in the meantime, we copied the main boutique in Milan,
Right.
the architecture of Gianni, into the hotel. And we took everything with us.
Wow.
And we showed them. When we showed everything and we made a presentation that we want to do the hotel, the managing director came and said that, what do you want? And we said we would like to have a Versace hotel. He said, do you genuinely believe that we will license our name for a property? I said, yes. He said, no. We get requests every day for Versace water, Versace, I don't want to say which thing. And we are not going to dilute our brand.
Yeah.
As we were talking and we say, please look at it, and he was saying no, Santo Versace arrived, not knowing anything about the background, and the plan was open. And said, what is that? And I said, it is the first Versace hotel. And he said, where is it? I said, in Australia. He said, Sydney? I said, no, Queensland. He said, Hayman Island? I said, very close. Okay, because they've been on holiday to Hayman Island. They didn't know Gold Coast exists. And he said, that will be the best hotel in the world. And that was it. And then they came back and they said, let's do a memorandum of understanding. And anyway, at 5 o'clock that day, we signed the memorandum of understanding. And that was the birth of the first branded property in the world. After that, as you know,
absolutely,
everything in the world started to be branded. And Gold Coast was a pioneering center for branding the property. And now Dubai is the hub of brand.
Absolutely,
Everywhere that you go is that brand and this brand, and everybody copies suit. Armani did it, and everybody else did it. Cavalli did it, and everybody come after that. So we've been fortunate enough that we've been pioneering in that level.
Yeah.
So was it for us a profitable venture? The answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
But was it something that put us on the map, that they would say, show our creativity, show our potentiality, show what we could do with property, that it put us on the world map? And that is why we've been approached to go to Dubai, to create the Palazzo Versace in Dubai and the sister building of Q1, D1 in Dubai. And that is how it started. And now, unfortunately, Palazzo Versace Gold Coast doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately. I love that story because I think it just shows that people are people, and at the end of the day, you know, no matter who they are and what they've achieved and what name they are, you can always approach them with, I think, an idea or a vision, and just being humble and knowing what you're good at. And
Just remember one thing in life, for to the all young people that they want to achieve something that was the forerunner of my, if you want to call it achievement, I don't know what
right,
it is because you don't see yourself as such, is I never ever made the right decision.
Hmm.
And I beg you guys, don't make the right decision. Because when you evaluating on every opportunity that come across and you want to go to see, is it right, is it wrong, you always focus on the negativity and never take a step forward. Make a decision. After you made the decision, make it right. It's quite a different understanding that how you can progress in no matter what you want to do. When you are meeting the partner in your life, you don't know if that partner is the right partner for you, but you make it right for yourself. You
yeah.
grow together in that process. Use the same thing in your business.
Let's touch on a bit more of partner, and let's go through, like, you're a husband, you're a father, you're a grandfather, and as you said, possibly the other day, maybe, I don't know, maybe possible great grandfather along the way.
Yeah, hopefully if they get
Soon,
married, I
maybe.
will be, as long as I'm alive.
What part of family has played a role in your life?
Look, if you come to my office, you will see a big portrait of my dad there.
Yeah.
It is unfair that I would not say that my mother played a role, but definitely my father, based on the hierarchy and upbringing culturally,
Yeah.
where I grew up in Iran, the father played a significant role.
Sure.
And they have the ultimate say, no matter what you want to do and how you want to do that. And my father focused only on one thing. He said that my children need to get the best education possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, in 1957, you see the Iran today.
Yeah.
In 1957, my brother went for university education to Austria. Education was profoundly the most important element in our life, to be educated. And then my father used to say something else. He used to teach us to say that, son, every day when you wake up, stand at the front of the mirror and look at the mirror and say,
Yeah.
are you happy with that person that you see? If for any reason you have done something that is not collaborating with your inner being, try to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Bring thyself to account each day,
Yeah.
that you become a better person every day. We will make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
We sometimes actually look back and say, I could have really done it better. But the time is always ahead of you.
Yeah.
The mistake that you have done in the past, you cannot do anything about it. It's done. But try to make it better with the next person or with the person that you have done it. So in light of that, to put, and my father used always to say, put one feet in the center of values, and with the other feet go anywhere that you want to do. That is your protection.
Yeah.
If you have the virtues in your life and you embedded yourself in the values of love, harmony, understanding, collaboration, generosity, and whatever you want to do with the other things, you are totally protected.
Yeah.
And that was really, you say, mentorship of my father. And more importantly, what he taught us was the faith. A faith that is very much persecuted in Iran. And there are a number of the followers of this faith, which is called the Baha'i faith, are even persecuted after 180 years, and they are imprisoning them, and they do everything. And only for the reason that we believe all the religions are one.
Yeah.
I am a Christian. I am a Jew. I am a Hindu. I am a Zoroastrian. I am a Muslim. Therefore, I am a Baha'i.
Yeah.
So we believe in unity of religion. We believe in equality of man and woman. We believe in compulsory education of the children. We believe that armament need to be seized. We believe that the border need to be removed. We believe that the unity of humanity, and we believe that ultimately all the people of the world have to have one common aid and reach the peace and tranquility for all. And that is the belief system that we have, and that is what we are working to convey to everybody, that, look, we can achieve peace.
Yeah.
We don't need with arms to find a solution for our conflict, because the person that have lost the father, the brother, the mother become the next element of divide, of animosity for the next generation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's probably been a couple of figures even just of mine that have sort of done that just through their words. And one was probably Bob Marley at the time, brought a civil war together through peace and harmony and through words. And it wasn't anything to do with guns or anything like that, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about vision. You shared a vision with me that you wanted to build a city, and I think you've pretty much done that and still going. But if you could design a city from scratch, what would be some of your priorities around creating harmony and fostering communities?
Look, when you look at it, the ancient villages in Iran, which is one of the oldest architecture, actually the families, they used to build the homes around one square.
Wow.
And the next family in another square, and so on and so forth. And they had a connection from one garden to the next garden, and so on. And they used to trade the goods that they have. If somebody was, for example, having an potato, and somebody had a tomato, and somebody had a chicken, and so on, they used to trade that. And the sense of community building was manifesting itself in a built form.
Yeah, right.
We have lost that sense of community building more and more when the West is become divided between those areas that they have versus those areas that they don't.
Yeah.
For example, the southern part of the Gold Coast, just take Gold Coast as an example, versus the northern part. You will see, for example, Binley as one part, and you say Hedges Avenue and another part. We are even divided the city based on have and not have.
Yeah.
So, and we're focusing on beautification of the places based on the people that they have the fortune to live in that area.
Correct.
If I was, which is impossible, I would, for example, build the university, be it Bond University, whatever,
Sure.
in Crombie, in Coomera, sorry.
Sure.
I would build the Central Park of New York in Coomera. I would create something that every inhabitant of the city have some benefit out of urban living.
Yeah.
Not to focus only on one thing. I am totally, utterly, with every single cell in my body against the notion that the state government, the federal government is doing to create areas for affordable housing.
Yeah.
That is the biggest misfortune for number of people, that they don't have the possibility that you and I have to put all of them in one block.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that it is imperative, it is the duty of our leaders to make a legislation that 5% of every single development has to be catered for affordability throughout Australia. If it is Hedges Avenue,
Yeah.
272 hedges, give 5% of it.
Yeah.
I have made a number of statements in the media. For my life, I do not understand why the board member of Qantas and BHP cannot live next door to a first home buyer. That is how we create community.
Absolutely.
To divide the community, you're actually not achieving that. The people that they have achieved on every single level of their life, in commercial life, the highest level, can teach the neighbor that is just at the beginning of the journey. However, the person that is struggling to buy the first house and can't tell to the retire BHP the suffering that he goes through, maybe that person that has the means would support the other bring humility to the whole community, that they become part of it, that we are all one. That just remember, don't know exactly the number,
Sure.
30 trillion, 40 trillion cell in our body.
Yeah.
Every single part of every organ work with the cell independently from each other.
Yeah.
But when a cancerous cell arrive in the body, all the cells try to fight it. Why can't we do that as a community?
Yeah.
That when we see the suffering of one individual, why the community cannot arise to help that person that is suffering. Harm to one person is harm to the human body, is the collective of the society. Harm to one individual is the harm to our Gold Coast. Did you know that 1 in 200 residents of Australia are homeless? One of the countries that per capita is one of the richest with the resources that we have.
Yeah.
Is no need to do that.
Yeah.
Is no need for us to have homeless people. We need to collaborate with each other. We need to help each other. We need to make work. But a message that I can, and hopefully Mr. Albanese can hear it, and Mr. Dutton can hear it. You are not builders, guys. You cannot say, I make an announcement to put $1 billion in the affordable housing.
Yeah.
You can never do that. You are not efficient to do that. The developer, they know how to do that.
Sure.
Legislated, and instead to waste the taxpayer money on all of those policies, allow the developer to build it and make a legislation that percentage of that has to be affordable, that we create a society that rich and poor live in harmony together.
Absolutely.
And if you want to subsidize them, but don't waste the money of things that you believe you are better home builder than I am. You are not, Mr. Albanese, and I'm happy to sit down on a table. You design a house and I design a house. See which one of us can design a better house. You build a house and I build. See which one of us can build cheaper and more efficient. And if we accept that the professionals can do better, the government need to collaborate.
Yeah.
And the government need to bring people that they can make our society a better society.
Well, work in harmony and move forward together, and I think everyone has a say in that based on where they are in their life as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you're on an individual basis and it doesn't really affect you dramatically now, but you think, individually you could do better, is there some advice that you would give to an individual to start moving forward towards making a more united community where they are?
Look, I believe the professional life and the personal life should be total harmony with each other.
Yeah.
You cannot say, for the next 10 years, I'm going to be secure and work so hard, and no matter what laws I will break to make it work, I do that. That doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You need to have a parallel. Just imagine that you are a bird with two wings.
Yeah.
Okay, one is spiritual and the other one is material. They need to be total in harmony. If one goes faster and the other one's not as fast as the other one, the bird actually will sing, not will soar.
Absolutely.
So these two things have to go together. And the 22 mentoring classes that I have in my life with 184 individuals, we convey only one message. You want to be a doctor? fantastic. Be a good human being that is a doctor. You want to be an architect? Best. You cannot be any better profession, by the way. But be a good human being that is an architect. You want to be a plumber? Be a good human being that is a plumber. The prerequisite of your profession has to be the personal development, that you are becoming an individual, that you use your expertise for the support of your community, not for your own personal support.
I think to end, there's a saying that I really like that you sometimes mention a few things about, and that's the future's never guaranteed. The past is now dead. Just worry about the now.
Exactly. So, when we started with this podcast,
Yeah.
I can never get that back. It's gone. It's finished. The present is the maybe my experience that I'm sharing with number of people if they want to accept it. The future is unknown for us. But based on what we learned in the past, what we practice today, we can create a better future for everyone, which include yourself. But don't divide yourself from the rest of the world because you will be very lonely.
Well, Soheil, I just want to say thank you for coming on and joining this community. And I think I just want to take a moment to all the listeners out there that will listen in and just say you are probably one of the best human beings on this earth.
Oh my God.
And no, I'm serious. And I think from my point of view, I think we wanted to say thank you for your contribution. And I hope this podcast goes on for generations and listen in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
Having me. And we all hope that in one small step that we take, we can have an effect for the betterment of life of one other person.
Beautiful.
Thank you.